Our first review of the day is going to be for the new Superman animated series, My Adventures with Superman. And this is the new Superman anime series on HBO Max or Max. I said this is where I watched. This was where it's streaming, but it's also showing on television on Adult Swim, which I'll get into why that's a little bit of a weird decision, I think, at a very late night slot that it has, because it comes on at around like what 10, 11 p.m. I think.
Yeah.
So it's 11, so it's kind of a weird time slot. I'm going to be getting into that a little bit later, but this is very early on Superman stuff. This is Superman in his early 20s, and he's palling around with Jimmy and Lois Lane, who are also in their 20s. You know, these are not their established characters yet. Lois is not a full-on reporter yet, as we see at the beginning of the series. She's just an intern. Same thing with Jimmy. Superman, aka who's also Clark Kent, also is an intern as well, just at the Daily Planet, and everything like that. So very early on stuff there, very beginning of Superman that we see here. He hasn't even learned how to, deal with his powers yet. He doesn't even know where he really fully comes from yet. And so, yeah, so if you've never really seen Superman material before, it's a good entryway point for you. Very beginner friendly, if you're there, and I think the show skews kind of young, maybe for some of that, for some viewers. You look at a lot of the animation style is very, speaking about anime, very anime inspired. People have pointed that out about the series. And Angie Plays, hello there, Angie Plays. How you doing there, man? Angie Plays says Lois looks like Luz from the Owl House.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, I've never seen the Owl House. Let me look up.
No, stop the stream. Go watch it. We'll get back to this when you finished.
I've never seen it. Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I looked at it.
Everybody mentions Luna, but nobody mentions how Jimmy Olsen looks like Baljeet from Phineas and Ferb.
I've never seen Phineas and Ferb.
It's because that everybody saw dark-skinned Jimmy Olsen, and the black community immediately took him.
Yeah. I don't want to get harp on too much of that. So the voice actress of Lois Lane here is voiced by Alice Lee. So is the Lois in this adaptation, is she supposed to be Asian? Is that what we're supposed to get by that? She's supposed to be Asian?
Yeah, I believe so.
Korean, okay. I think.
Korean. And then the Jimmy Olsen in this, is he supposed to be black? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we already had a black Jimmy Olsen already, because he was Mehcad Brooks played him live action in the Supergirl series.
Man, that wasn't Jimmy Olsen. That was Mehcad Brooks in Supergirl.
pretty much. I mean, yeah. And then he became, I think, eventually. I watched till where he became his own hero. Like he became the Guardian, I think, or something, or
something like that.
He became a superhero. It's like, bro, if there's already a Superman here, like they really don't need you. But okay, man. I guess you didn't do all those crunches for nothing. I guess.
I don't believe he ever held a camera in that show.
If it had to be like episode 1, like season 1 stuff. That's it.
Yeah. I think he took maybe one picture. You know what I mean? But he was like, "Hey, I got these pearly whites. You know what I mean? That's all I need. I don't need that.
He's the love interest. That's what he's there for.
Yeah. So that's kind of the thing with My Adventures with Superman going on. People have been talking about this show. People have been pretty hyped about this show. I saw, so that's kind of what brought me interest in it. Brandon, he's been a big fan of it. So I'm going to pass it over to Brandon. What do you think about My Adventures with Superman?
Yeah, to put it plainly, I really just enjoy this show. Like before it premiered, like I casually rewatched like the Justice League and like Superman animated series, the OG, like just sometimes for background stuff. And this just feels like just a great continuation of like kind of that era of superhero shows. Like they're telling you why he's Superman and all like these perfect ways. Like episode 1, like he saves a cat like out of the tree. Like that's Superman. And I think one of the main reasons I like it is because we haven't had a Superman like this, like kind of this accurate, like thanks to the Snyderverse that we've had Superman who seems very sad to be Superman. So yeah, I think the show just kind of really elevates that, and just like you said earlier, the anime influence is like very like they're wearing it on their sleeve. They're like, this is inspired by anime nerds, so thank you very much. But yeah, no, I love it. It's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like would you say like how the Snyderverse concentrated on the fact that he's an alien? This show
Mhm.
more so treats him like a boy from Kansas.
Exactly, yeah. Like his first scene is him saving somebody in Kansas, and I think that just like what you said, like he's more human than Kryptonian in this one.
A rating for maturity said, it says, "Are we sure it's even Superman, even if he isn't killing people and causing massive collateral damage?" There is a scene though. I mean, where he does fight somebody in the city, messes things up, and then he goes and
Mhm.
cleans it up. Like he goes and puts
Yeah.
everything back in place of where it was. So I was like, oh, that's very considerate of him. You know what I mean? I don't think I've seen that before. So that was very nice of him to do. And voicing Superman. So the voice cast here, you have Jack Quaid, who Jack Quaid people might know. He plays Huey in The Boys. He
Mhm.
was also in the latest Scream movie. The last, what was it, Scream 5 he was in? Scream 5.
Yeah.
He was the villain in that. That's kind of his two big roles
Spoilers.
there. Yeah, spoilers. Yeah, spoilers for Scream 5, I guess. There. And then, so we already mentioned Alice Lee, and Ishmael Saeed is voicing Jimmy Olsen.
Mhm.
We also have Perry White here, voiced by Daryl Brown, who's in this. So they have the traditional Perry White is in this. Who also, there's been a black Perry White before because Lawrence Fishburne was Perry White
Yep.
in Man of Steel. So there you go. He's in that. Alice Lee, I'm not too familiar with Alice Lee myself. I'm not too
Yeah, neither
familiar.
am
If she's been in anything before, but I'm gonna look at her credits here. But yeah, nice voice cast, I will say.
I.
I think they fit very much with the style of the show, the actions of the show. So I like them. Danny, have you watched any of My Adventures with Superman? I forgot to
Oh
ask you.
man, I binged the whole thing. By that I mean
Mhm.
I watched it every single weekly release, no matter
Yeah.
how shitty the HBO Max player is. And believe me,
True.
the HBO Max player is the worst streaming player out there. But I think that it delivers something we're not used to seeing, which is
Yeah.
an endearing Superman.
Mm,
Mhm.
okay. Um, I think with this show, I mean, I think we kind of got a little bit more of an endearing Superman. Like, have you all seen the Superman and Lois show, which was on the CW?
I have not. I need to start it. People keep saying that like it's like a really good kind of adaptation of Superman as well that we haven't really
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
seen.
it's great. You guys should really
Okay.
check it out. Actually, it's a great Superman and Lois show.
Okay.
Yeah. I've only seen the first season. I know it's on its fourth or fifth season now. So I kind of lost place. But I did like the first season quite a bit. We reviewed it.
Okay.
And yeah, I did like it. And yeah, that kind of has more bringing back, I think, with the guy who plays Superman, Tyler Hoechlin. Very much
Yeah.
that, kind of nice, Superman, wholesome Superman. It kind of brings it more back to that.
Mhm.
This, I think, I guess it being a cartoon, I guess it can take it a little bit of a step further with the wholesomeness and cuteness of it. A lot of people have
Mhm.
said that, this Superman in this animated series is more like himbo Superman. Um,
Yeah.
He is
um,
shirtless a lot. He's like
he,
he's like Tom Welling. He's like, I'm just gonna. Oh man, sure it's hot in here. Let me just peel off this layer of shirt.
yeah.
Pretty
Uh,
much.
and when he first meets Lois Lane, it's an instant connection. I
Mhm.
mean, you know what I mean? It's very, very instant. They don't waste really any time getting into it, of them being together. So that's pretty much instantaneous. And then also the whole, secret identity thing of like, how do I tell my friends, I'm Superman and I can do these
Mhm.
things, and I can say they pretty much they figure out he's Superman within like what, 5 episodes, 6 episodes. They go like, okay,
Yeah, pretty much.
we yeah, they know he's Superman. And then even Jimmy Olsen is like, well, I already knew you was Superman because
I've been
they
there.
live, they live together. Him and Jimmy live together. So it's like, well,
Mhm.
I've been knew that. I mean, you ripped the door off the hinges. I mean, come on. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I always assume white people are lying.
know.
Just
uh,
right.
yeah, what you got to, I mean, because man, I mean, living with Superman must suck because he's breaking shit. He's ripping the faucet off.
Yep.
You see him, he's breaking the
Going through
clock.
shoes. just like
Yeah.
everything.
It's like, man, living with this dude must suck.
Mm,
But really, guys, the main thing that sets us apart from almost all other superhero media, Pa Kent is alive.
oh
Truly,
yeah.
truly, the worst thing we've ever gotten from the Christopher Reeves movies is killing Pa Kent, and everyone
Mm.
afterwards being like, yeah, let's do that forever.
Mm. Yeah, he does have Palm Ken in this, who's still alive there. And that kind of, Doc, you bring up that point. It makes me think about kind of another point I was going to get into is how so we see this more of an endurance Superman.
Mm,
The plot points in this show, I think, do kind of copy some plot points I've seen quite a bit in other Superman media, which is evil Superman. That's always kind
yeah.
of the looming threat. Is we're worried about if Superman's going to become evil. That was kind of one of the plot points in Superman and Lois.
Mm.
That was one of the plot points in Batman v Superman. I feel like that there's just a lot of that going on. How do you feel about that? About kind of some of the plot points there, about kind of like the whole looming threat of evil Superman there,
Mm.
Brandon.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. Like that has been kind of like a thing, and people always complain nowadays. Like we're tired of it. Like especially with like the Injustice series, it's kind of like their Superman is evil, and that kind of like kept on happening. Snyder wanted an evil Superman. Um, but no, I think this show kind of handles it pretty well. Like it doesn't like straight go for it, like this is gonna happen, or like it kind of like it gets a little meta with it. Like it feels like there's a fear of it. Like we don't want that to happen, but they even like have throughout the show like keep reassuring Clark that that's not gonna happen to him. Like he's different than that kind of Superman. So I kind of like the way they present the conversation and doesn't just go like, yeah, Superman's evil. Like it even goes so far to challenge like the main kind of antagonist this season, the general. Like he like time and time 10 sees Superman saving people, but he's still like, oh no, he's gonna be evil. He was evil before. So I thought
Yeah,
those kind of plot points are cool in this season.
Oh yeah, it's they're teasing it. They're like showing
Mhm.
pictures of Dean Cain, and they're like, "Evil Superman is possible."
Exactly.
uh, yeah. So I just it's a very familiar plot point. I've seen in a lot of
Mhm.
Superman media before. The whole if he's going to turn evil and worrying about that.
Yeah.
I think the best word to kind of describe this show is it's cute. I think kind of
Mm.
that's the best word. It's nice. It's fun. It's kind of fluffy there, in its style, in its kind of animation, in a lot of the voice acting in it. And some of the kind of you do get kind of some of the monster of the week kind of stuff because you
Mm.
have one of the main antagonists in the show is Task Force X. You
Mm.
see some characters like Amanda Waller. We mentioned General Lee, who's in this, who's also like of course, there's always people like, hey, this guy can do all this, but what if he turn evil? So we have to, be
Mm.
there to stop him. So, they try to form a team of people to stop Superman. And you see some other familiar DC villains, Deathstroke from one who's in this, who people I know have complained about a little bit the look of Deathstroke. They kind of made him, I don't know, kind of like a twink, I guess. You know what I mean? To some degree, a little bit of a different look for Deathstroke.
Yeah.
Um, you also have Livewire, who's in this. You have Parasite, who's in this.
Mm.
Some familiar. So Parasite is a very familiar Superman villain. Very
Mm.
different look for Parasite, though. It's not the Parasite that we've seen from like the Superman the animated series, like in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
There, so it's a different look for the Parasite that we've seen. It's more of like this kind of like suit that he has that he can suck all this energy and makes him kind of even a bigger monster. There, so it's kind of a little bit different. What do you all think about the villains in the show?
Well,
Danny.
there's so many different kinds of Deathstrokes out there. There's pedophile Deathstroke, there's
Mm.
pedo Deathstroke, there's mildly pedophilic Deathstroke, and then there's like the less popular versions. I like to say I really enjoyed anime Deathstroke. Yeah, he's got some flair. So what? Yeah, he's got the nice hair. Who cares?
Yeah. What about you, Brandon? What do you think about some of the kind of antagonists here?
Yeah, no, I know one of the complaints I see often with the show is kind of like how they're all kind of tech based and like they follow this same template. So like people are kind of annoyed that they aren't, like how they are in the comics or like other adaptations. But like I didn't really mind. I enjoyed each kind of interpretation, and I think that's the thing people forget, especially with comic book adaptations that they want it to be exactly how it is. But I like that this one is going all in on like, like the anime influence, the tech stuff, and especially the tech stuff with the Kryptonians. Um, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed these villains, especially Livewire and Parasite. Like the way you said, like his suit is kind of is the one doing it, but like they combined him with Doctor Ivo, another Superman character. But I think that's kind of like one of the smart choices they do in the show.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of shows do that. They do streamline their villains. Like in
Mhm.
Smallville, a lot of them come from the meteor shower. In Static
Yeah,
Shock, they're all bang babies.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they do that here, and you see a lot of the villains are coming from Task Force X there.
Mhm.
And there is going to be a season 2 of this show, and then
Mhm.
I think it was the producer of the show said that hey, we got a lot more in store, and there's still a lot more they can do here with a lot more rogues gallery stuff
Yeah.
of characters that you do. They bring in, which I think is one of my favorite episodes of the show. They do bring in Mr. Mixoplex. And
Mhm.
they do the whole kind of multiverse of Lois Lanes here that you see. There you can get a lot of kind of fun Easter egg stuff there. You see the Superman and Lois from the old animated series back in the early 2000s, which I'm a fan of. That was part of the old
Mhm.
DCAU, the DC animated universe. Bruce Timm and Paul Dini, where they did that, where it
Mhm.
connected to Batman the animated series and went into Justice League and everything like that. What was some of your favorite episodes, Brandon?
Oh man, that one especially that you mentioned, the multiverse Mitsupidalic episode. Um, all the references in that, all the Easter eggs were fun, but I really liked that. Like how we said earlier, this is a new Superman, this is a new Lois Lane. So like, yeah, the attraction was there immediately, but like we see this is like the first episode where we see them kind of like after they know that each other likes each other. So like it was fun seeing that kind of dynamic and Jimmy always playing the third wheel in a different way. But yeah, I think that's something the show nails is like the dynamic between the two characters. So like I really enjoyed the one where they have to go save Jimmy from what they think is a Sasquatch in the woods, but it's freaking the a talking gorilla and the brain villain.
Gorilla Grodd and I forgot
There's
the
a
name.
lot of
Steve Kerr.
apes. Let's not confuse some
Yeah, right.
guys.
Oh, it's not Gorilla Grodd.
Exactly.
Oh, my bad. I thought that was Gorilla
No,
Grodd.
there's
Oh,
like a French ape that's usually running
Yeah,
around with the brain.
exactly. The
oh,
French ape. But yeah, that episode was really good. So just any of the episodes where their dynamic really shined, I enjoyed.
okay. Yeah, Danny, what about you?
Oh, that one Brandon was just talking about. That's definitely my favorite. The one with the brain and the French ape, because it's like the entire episode. You're waiting for the shoe to drop. Like, okay, reveal that they're evil. Come on, let's get over
Mm-hmm.
with. And they're inching towards it without ever doing it. Like, there's like, oh, there's a black hole here. Well, we just got bored. There's why are there gremlins running around? Well, we just wanted to have some babies.
Mm.
It's great.
Yeah.
But
So,
it is the cutest interpretation of those villains ever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is some, yeah. I mean, a lot of these episodes do have kind of a good time with them and the dynamics with some of the characters here.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned, Jimmy. Feeling very very heavy third wheel syndrome here of being around with Lois and Clark. So I think that was very nice to explore that. Um, and I know there was a big controversy. I don't know. I mean, controversy is too big of a word, but
Mm-hmm.
with the whole thing of like Lois trying to make Clark reveal to her that he is Superman, and people saying that that was incredibly toxic, and it brought back the old discourse of what happened with Amber from Invincible.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I call those guys bad boyfriends who always lie to their girlfriends.
so where do you guys stand on that?
I don't know. I
Hey,
personally, I
hey,
feel like that's. Oh no, you want to go?
no, you go ahead, man. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say this. Her doing that is like a Superman thing. Like it feels like a Superman staple. So like it didn't bother me at all. I was legit surprised that it was like turning into a thing and like how you said, Amber. But I feel like it's just a common superhero trope that Lois Lane probably originated. So I didn't really mind it when they did it in this show. And I just think the argument is dumb.
um, Real quick before I go
Yeah,
to
what people
Danny.
what people
Uh,
don't acknowledge about the whole secret identity thing is, you're basically gaslighting all the people around you and slowly driving them crazy because they all fucking know.
Yeah.
But you're over here like in the movie, Lois Lane like jumps off a building like in the show, and Clark Kent doesn't reveal himself. He just like super speeds to the ground, makes small tornado, and makes her land on an umbrella and like trashes herself. And then he goes back to the top of the building like, Lois, what are you doing? That's nuts.
Yeah, and that example is one that Radiant from Maturity brought up. He says Lois jumped out the window the exact same way in the Christopher Reeves movie. And then Angel Plays had a fun fact. He says, let's see. Did you know the same people working on My Adventures Superman did the Legend of Korra and Voltron Legendary Defenders? Yeah, like
nice.
having said that, okay, I can definitely see Voltron Legendary Defenders. It does have that same kind of animation style, so that makes a lot of sense.
They animate brown people very well.
Yeah, they do. They kind of do shade them pretty well there. I mean, that's one thing they don't get from the anime style. They don't give them those big watermelon lips. I will say. They don't
the stereotypical stuff.
Yeah, they don't. There's no Mr. Popo here. I will say that.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's no Naruto stuff where the main character, a new black character is introduced as a rapper.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, none of that. Jimmy doesn't rap at all.
Yeah. This Jimmy is a conspiracy theorist. He has his own, Alex Jones type following, I guess, or something. He's trying to make his own. He's trying to do that. He's the Flame Bird, the Flame Birds. He does that. So more of a modern interpretation. He's more like on social media doing stuff as opposed to what we've seen before. So more of a modern interpretation of that, which is kind of nice. Lois is still pretty much the same. I think we've seen her in other adaptations. She's still the go-getter, hunting the story, wants to be a reporter. That's her dream. And apparently in every other, universe, she's still a reporter. You know what I mean? Like every universe, she's a reporter. So that's something there. But yeah, she's still kind of the same there. And yeah, I mean, Clark Kent, Superman, still the, as we've seen him before, still a humble guy, sweet guy. And like I said, this is very early on in his career. And you mentioned, I do think they do kind of do the alien aspect. You mentioned that they touch more of his Kansas stuff. I think they do both, kind of balance both pretty well. I think they do he's the boy from Kansas and the alien stuff because, he mentions, he doesn't know anything about his history, about where he comes from. And so that will be interesting to see him discover that more. And then is this the first time? Probably not, but in media and like what we've seen from a movie or show where we've seen the Kryptonians speak another language, like they speak their own Kryptonese language.
This is the first time, really, for me.
Yeah, like I've only read it recently in a comic, I think, where Clark had learned some old Kryptonian language and stuff like that. But yeah, first time in a movie or show I've seen that.
Okay, so that was some kind of something new they put in there, which I thought was nice. Yeah. So I do really like the show quite a bit. I think it has a lot of great aspects to it. Any negatives, downsides for you at all, Brandon, with this show?
I don't know. Like honestly, I feel like I was gonna be biased against the show like before it even came out because it's been like the last time we had consistent Superman in animation was like 2005 with Justice League cartoon. And before that, of course, the 90s Superman animated series. So like I was looking forward to this. I love Jack Quaid. Like he's mentioned The Boys, Scream, and I've been recently watching him on Lower Decks, the Star Trek series. No, I can't really think of any negatives. If anything, it'd be like I wanted more episodes, but I know like how animation goes. So 10 episodes usually is as good we're gonna get sometimes. But I really enjoyed it. I can't think of any negatives.
Yeah. Let's see. Radiant from Maturity. He said that they did Kryptonian language in Batman, Superman, Apocalypse. Okay. So they did that in that. Oh, okay. Very nice. Danny, any negatives for you?
Oh yeah, the show it did this really annoying thing where it ended and there wasn't a new episode, and that's just unforgivable.
Yeah.
So yeah, you guys are pretty proud. So,
Mhm.
what will be your final thoughts and rating for it, Brandon?
Yeah, I think if you're like one of those people who will say Superman is boring or like you never really got into Superman, like any of the other DC characters or Marvel characters in general, um, I say this show is definitely worth checking out. Like it's fun, it's easy to consume. Like I said, short 10 episodes. The voice acting is great, animation is great. And even if you do enjoy Superman, like I think it's a fun twist on certain aspects of the lore, um, and just fun adaptations in general. Like they do their own thing while still staying true to what Superman is. So I would definitely give this like a super strong tune in.
Wow. Yeah. Superman strong tune in for My
Mm-hmm.
Adventures with Superman with Brandon.
Exactly.
Danny. So our rating scale. So the highest you can give something is this is cinema. Then below that is peak. Then below that is a tune in. Then below that is a stream it. Our negative ratings, the lowest you can give something is waste of fucking film. That's the lowest you can give something.
Oh, we're on the
Um,
cuss on this? Oh man, I've been holding back this entire time.
yeah. Then the second lowest is you can give it a burn it, and then you can also give it, and then the one above that is a tune out or skip it is above
Oh
that. So
man, those other ratings do not apply. This is peak. Like
Mm.
the animation's great, the voice acting's great, the new interpretations of these characters and these villains are great. The little like teaser at the end where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, this actually makes way more sense now. And
Yeah.
for me, it was just a cherry on top. It's just great, guys. You should watch it. Everybody should watch this. I know we're guaranteed a season 2, but I want
Mm.
like 5 seasons of the show. And
Yes.
like after season 6, maybe we can introduce the larger DC universe. I don't know, but I just want my
Mm.
Superman show for right now.
mm,
So yeah, it's peak.
nice, nice, nice. So peak from Danny Doggett and a strong tune in from Brandon. I'm gonna agree with Brandon. I give it also a strong tune in. I had a good time watching
Mm.
this. I'm glad I did. Like I said, cute show. I think it is a good breeze to watch. 10 episodes, so you can finish it about in a day if got
Yeah.
really, if you just want to, maybe do a good afternoon, just sitting down watching it. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I greatly enjoyed it. I like these interpretations of these characters.
Mm.
Somebody did mention Dusk, who is my co-host on the show, did mention that like there was some of the animation techniques that he found pretty cheap, like in some of the fight
Mm.
scenes. That he noticed like repeating of some things. I have to go
Mm.
back and
Did
take a
he
look.
not watch Invincible and those flying scenes?
Yeah. Season one's usually rough for those animations.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess it's just an animation thing. I guess it's just
Yeah.
like an traditional
You
animation.
know what I didn't see here? CG like backgrounds.
Mm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a good point there. So yeah. Yeah. So very, very positive on my adventures with Superman. I'll definitely be checking out season 2 when it comes out.
Mhm.